Hello, everyone. This is another Black Conservative. I'm Ryan Bolin. Thank you all for joining me. So, as you guys know, some of the material that I cover is not always pleasant. And I just found out something that was really, really disturbing. And it had to do with a fifth grade teacher, I believe, in Chicago that was discovered to have had a shooting list of students. Now, this is when I say shooting list, I'm not talking about a shooting list that she found from one of the students somehow, but this is a shooting list that she herself or this teacher himself had made up. And then at the end of the shooting list was her name, meaning that she was going to shoot about, what, I think 5 students or something like that, and then shoot herself. That's very disturbing. I know that's not a pleasant thing to talk about, but we got to cover this kind of stuff. This is what I do. I cover this kind of news. So I'm going to read this article. It's pretty short, and I'm going to give you my opinion on what I think is going on. Okay, so let's get into this. And the article starts off with: the fifth grade teacher has been arrested after telling one of her students that she had made a, quote, a kill list of the students she taught and the colleagues she worked with, which is interesting. Why would you tell one of your students that? Jesus Christ. Wow. At approximately 5 p.m. on Wednesday, officers from the East Chicago Police Department were dispatched to speak with the principal and assistant principal of St. Stanislaus School, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, located about 20 miles south of downtown Chicago, in reference to a threatening report that school officials had learned about earlier in the day regarding fifth grade teacher Angelica. I can't pronounce her last name. I think she's Latino. A 25-year-old educator from Griffin, Indiana. At approximately 12:45 p.m., a fifth grade student told her counselor that their fifth grade teacher made comments to him or slash her about killing herself, students, and staff at St. Stanislaus School. East Chicago Police Department said in a statement released on social media. The teacher further told the student that she had a list and that he/she was on the bottom of that list. Wow. Now, I don't know what the she supposedly means, but school officials say the teacher was immediately escorted to the principal's office to discuss the disturbing incident and subsequently admitted to them that she did actually make those statements to the student, and also confirmed that she had a, quote, kill list as well. Very disturbing. During the conversation, the teacher named a specific student on her list, but did not provide the list authorities confirmed. Okay. The principal then advised the teacher to leave and not return to school pending an investigation. Yeah, really? The East Chicago Police Department said that they were not notified by the school until approximately 4 hours after the incident, and the teacher was freely allowed to leave the premises. Now, so why did they wait so long? 4 hours after the incident? That should have been immediately reported. However, once officers were notified, they immediately notified the Criminal Investigation Division, who obtained an emergency detention order for the educator from the Lake County Prosecutor's Office. The teacher was taken into custody by the East Chicago Police Department on Thursday at approximately 11:15 a.m. without incident. It is unclear if the teacher had obtained legal representation, but the investigation is still ongoing, and authorities say no further details about the case or statements regarding the incident will be made at this time. Now, what's interesting about this article is that I think somewhere else there was an incident that occurred where a student actually killed, I think, 4 people and 5 people, something like that, just recently. They're right now, law enforcement is dealing with that right now. As a matter of fact, I want to read you just some of this. I'm going to give you my opinion on what I think is going on. So let's get into some of this. And here it is. Let's get right into this. This is more disturbing news, but I'm going to give you guys what I believe was going on here in a minute. Police are searching for answers after a teenager allegedly killed 5 people, including a police officer, in a mass shooting along a nature trail in Raleigh, North Carolina. Among the victims was Raleigh police officer Gabriel Torres, 29, who was on his way to work when he was shot and killed, according to Raleigh Police Chief Estella Patterson. The 4 others killed were identified as, well, they give the names. I'm not going to read the names here. But that's another, I'm not going to read no more than that. You can read that on your own. But if you guys haven't heard about that, that's another incident that happened. Now, what's frightening about this, if you have this student killing these individuals, and then you have this situation right here where you have an actual teacher, okay, writing a letter with a kill list of students on there, and her name at the bottom of the list. His or her name at the bottom of the list, whatever. If that's an accurate assessment there, then we're seeing something that is going on here in this country that is beyond the scope of most people to comprehend. Now, I did a video on a subject, on this same subject some months ago in reference to the Baltimore shooting. And here's the first thing I want to put out right up front. This is not about this anti-gun crap. This is not, I want to hear that stuff about the Democrats. That's the first thing they're going to bring up. We need more gun control. Man, I'm not finna get into that nonsense at all. This goes beyond the whole concept of gun control, okay? Because if you take away the guns from law, if you take away, I'm not finna argue that. Let's not even go there. I digress, okay? There's something else much deeper going on here. And I mentioned in that video some months ago that perhaps you got to ask the question, why are all these people committing these mass shootings? Remember in the 1970s, I'm rehashing what I said in that video months ago, but I'm going to bring this back up because I personally believe that this is what's going on. Back in the 1970s, the 1980s, the big thing during those decades was serial killers. Serial killers was coming out of everywhere. You had Ted Bundy, you had Jeffrey Dahmer, you had the Hillside Stranglers, you had, what's that guy's name? Ted Bundy. All of these serial killers was coming out and it was just madness, insanity. They wrought fear and terror everywhere they went, and this is like throughout the country, and it was terrifying. And then all of a sudden, it suddenly, I think, started to stop right around the 90s. Now, why is that? All of a sudden, it started to stop. And then we start getting into this mass shooting situation. I think one of the first was the Columbine situation. And then all of a sudden, it just started going on further and further. Now, now the big deal is no more serial killers. I'm pretty sure there's some serial killers out here, but that's not the main focus right now. It seems like the main focus right now is mass shootings. The question one has to ask, what is going on? Why is this happening? And based on what I have been reading about for the last few years from researchers such as Paul McGuire, what's his name? Russ Dizdar, who just passed several years ago. Michael Lake, other people who, these are high-level researchers. And I'm just going to put this out here because I don't want this video to be taken down or banned or anything like that. So I can't really give you all the details. You would have to look into it yourself. But they mentioned something along the line of mass shooters, or rather programmed shooters. That there is a very demonic, evil objective to bring as much chaos into the society as they possibly can, using these mass shooters or programmed shooters in order to initiate this breakdown of society. Now, it gets much deeper. Like I said, I don't have the time or the freedom to really go into detail with it here. But if this research is accurate, which I believe it is, then that's what we're seeing going on now. All these, a school teacher, which, to be honest with you, is shocking to me, but at the same time, I expected it. In the back of my mind, I'm like, sooner or later, it's going to be teachers that's going to start doing this. And here you go. You got a teacher making a kill list of students that they want to kill. You're going to see stuff is starting to mount up. And I know this is terrifying. It's dark. It makes people feel uncomfortable. But don't you think it's better to know about it rather than not to know about it, so that you can protect yourself and your loved ones? It's better to know about it than not to know about it. It's better to talk about it than not to talk about it. Now, me personally, I don't live in fear. I believe that God is in control of my destiny and that God is in control of what's going on. Now, this is not the channel in which to preach, but being an ordained minister, I believe that, I'm just going to put this out here real quick. This is what I personally believe, okay? So I'm not preaching to anyone. I'm not trying to indoctrinate anyone to anything, but this is what I personally believe, that God is in absolute control of what's going on, but that he's allowing these things to take place to fulfill Bible prophecy, that there is coming a day in which there is going to be an individual who is going to rule the world, and he will be the single most brutal, most horrible world dictator in all of human history. He will make Adolf Hitler and Stalin and all those world dictators of the past look like romper room characters. Billions with a B, billions will die under his regime. But that will be combined with other things, but billions will die with a B. Okay. This man is going to be the embodiment of all evil. Okay. And I believe that these mass shootings and the serial killings and all this type of stuff, these programmed serial killers and programmed mass shooters, which I personally believe they are, is preparing the world for that very thing, for that very individual. That's what I personally believe. Okay. Now, other people may argue and say that drugs may have something to do with it. That may be true. Drugs may have something to do with it. Some other issues may have something to do with it. The V, you know what I mean? That may have something to do with it. I had a friend of mine sharing with me how she was stating basically that once that, the Pope took place, that things was going to start changing. People was going to start being affected. That could be true. That could be true. It's all kinds of different theories on why we have all these mass shooters are coming out, or possible mass shooters here are coming out of nowhere. What's going on here? And I personally believe that that's what's going on. I believe that these people are programmed. They went through a lengthy satanic demonic programming system, and that, like I said, I can't give you all the details, and that they are being initiated to do this. Okay, there's a trigger, certain triggers that set them off, and then when they commit these murders, for the most part, they don't even remember committing them. Let me end the video on this. I think this is back in 2012, 2013. The young man that went inside the movie theater and shot up those people, like 12 people, something like that, 12, 13 people. I was reading one source. I can't remember the source. I was reading one source where it says that when the law enforcement officers took him in, he didn't even know where he was at. He asked the question, where am I? What happened? Now, somebody can argue, oh, he just playing the insanity plea. Maybe, maybe not. Maybe, maybe not. Because even if he's playing the insanity plea, he's still going to be locked up. Probably in some asylum somewhere, but still he's going to be locked up for many, many years. So even if he's playing that, his freedom is taken away from him, either way it goes. So I believe when he said, where am I? What's going on here? I believe he personally was a programmed shooter. That's what I personally believe. And other researchers believe the same thing. But I believe he was a programmed shooter. Because when they took a picture of him, he had this look on his face. That mug shots, he had this look on his face like his eyes was wide and he looked like he didn't know where he was at. Like he was in a daze. So this is what I believe is going on. I'm thankful that this teacher did not enact this mass slaughter that the teacher was planning on doing. I'm glad that didn't happen. My prayers and support also goes out to the family members who lost these individuals where this teenager decided to shoot up all these people. I'm praying for the family members that God will give them grace and strength in this hour of bereavement. But this is an unfortunate situation that we're living in, people. But I'm just giving you my opinion on what I think is going on. And I don't live in fear because, I don't want to sound arrogant, but I believe I know what's going on. So therefore, I don't live in this fear. I refuse to live in fear. So what do you guys think about this situation? Leave your comments in the comment section below. Like, share, and subscribe to this channel. God bless you all and see you again.